if you don't know anything about crypto right now, and you're just getting involved and you make that investment, once you put money into it, you're going to pay attention.
Yes.
And once you're paying attention, you're going to start learning more every day.
Biggs and Boggs.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Your Future Hand with Biggs and Boggs. I'm Marty Boggs.
And I'm Julian Biggs.
Thanks for joining us today, folks. We have a
Thank you.
fantastic show for you today. So make sure you stick around till the end.
Show.
Fantastic. You're going to probably end this show. You're going to be like, wow, those guys did a great job. Okay. Well, thanks for the support. Thanks for viewing. Let's get right into it. What are we up to today? How can we plan for tomorrow? Julian.
Thanks, Marty. Thank you very much. And thank you for joining us. If you've been following the channel since the beginning, which was only a couple of weeks ago, thank you very much. We appreciate your support. And we'll get right into it. So today we want to, actually, last week we had a great question come in from Cindy Schilling. Thank you very much. So we're going to go over some of these questions a little bit later in the episode and cover the information that she was looking for. But to start off, we're going to do a quick overview of the charts for anybody just looking for a quick price update, see where we're at today.
Yeah, Bitcoin price, I think we're kind of at a bit of a turning moment here, potentially.
Potentially.
Could be right now, it could be a couple days from now, but also, you know, it's time to look at it and let's break her down for it.
Seeing strong support,
Yeah.
so for sure. And then we want to talk about the Bitcoin production cycles, just kind of how that works and what causes the supply shock when they hit the markets and causes these prices to go into their markup phases,
Right.
like we're seeing right now in a bull
So
cycle.
you know what to expect when when you're holding Bitcoin.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Ding,
There it is.
100%.
Yeah, we want to say, we realize we say 100% a lot, but we're gonna probably keep saying it.
Yeah. Maybe we'll do like a giveaway. How many times it was 100% said? Giving away 1 ETH. No, we're not giving away 1 ETH. I don't have 1 ETH yet to give away, so
Okay.
just stick with us. Maybe one day we'll give away 1 ETH. I hate ETH though. Fuck ETH. Anyways, never mind.
That might be cut out. Okay, so right now we're going to take a look at the charts. We're going to get right into it. Let's have a look. I'm a little bass backwards here, but that's okay. This is actually good. We'll start here. We're zoomed out. We're looking at the weekly chart right now. And what you can see is the start at the first bull cycle, which would have been 2013 after the launch in 2009.
At least once people started paying attention.
At least once people started paying attention, yeah. And on the second bull cycle, you can see we had some nice growth in 2017, and then right now,
That's when I got reeled in.
we are seeing some exponential growth again in 2021 bull cycle. So let's get back to the daily chart where I like to do most of my updates from. If I'm looking to enter trades or maybe some extra buying opportunities on certain coins, I'm looking at the daily chart. You're going to get a stronger signal from the larger time frames, but we can take a look at the 4-hour, which is what people like to look at generally for short-term trades. But anyway, as you can see, we are now retesting this support range, as I said, was the possibility in the last few updates, but we are getting a strong bounce here. So you can see where we started this move back about a few weeks ago or at the end of October, beginning of November, and we're getting down to that range again now. You saw the strong bounce here, and we're starting to, we've got how much time left? An hour, 2 hours and 30 minutes until the daily close again today. So this is looking pretty good for a bullish hammer candle at the end of the day today, which
nice.
could be leading us to some stronger price movement in the next
it's
few
pumping
days.
right now. It's pumping.
But,
It went from 55 to almost 56 just now.
But if you heard me talking about this pattern playing out here, we did get the rejection, and I was talking we would need the daily close above this line to see that moving up again, which we did not get. We got the rejection, this big, giant, juicy red candle, and then I said we'd have the potential to just trade sideways, potentially for a couple of days, and then maybe see a big wick down to the 200-day moving average like we saw back here at the beginning of the month. So
also, can you just touch on September for me for a sec, because lots of similarities happening in the same thing, and like what you just said, touching the 200 moving average. So it almost looks like you said, maybe a couple more days of sideways action before the next two big cucumbers come in.
Two big, big fat cucumbers. That's just it. So if we do come down, if we do get the rejection here at this at this support resistance line again and see that rejection down to this 200-day moving average, just like we did in September. You can see we had multiple days action and buildup of either accumulation or support, whatever you may want to call it, before we made this big move to the upside. So we could be looking at just that, coming down to the 200-day moving average, and either with a sharp wick and going up, just like we saw here, or potentially another couple of days of accumulation and support build up on that 200-day moving average. But I don't see us. I don't think this thing is over yet.
No. That's just what we want to keep our eye on, is that line right there.
Yeah, I do think there's still more upside potential towards the end of the year, and potentially even into the new year with the way cycles are going now.
Exactly. So cycles. This is this cycle playing out. We're expecting another leg to the upside.
Yeah. But you can see anywhere we have come across the 200-day moving average, you can't see it right there, but anytime we've come across it, we've really seen some nice upward moves. And good price action. And you can see when we've crossed down from the 200-day moving average, then we go into these little bear markets just underneath the 200. So that's what I'm looking for, is that 200-day moving average support there for now. And as long as we're holding above that, I think we're going to be okay. But you can see we did come a little bit lower and kind of trade sideways on it here.
And that's why another reason why we just want you guys to get in, because once you're in, you're going to start paying attention to it. Once you got money on the line, then that's when you're going to start paying attention, and then that's what it takes to learn.
And the later you get in, honestly, the longer you wait to be in profits, really. So if you're buying in, if you bought in somewhere here, or if you bought in, anywhere in this range where it's still a decent buy, you can still see some downward price action and be a little bit in the red before you start to see some gains come back. But like I said, if we just zoom out though and look at all these previous cycles together, you can see that we're only going up, right? So,
And let's touch on that for 1 second. Why are we only going up? Because opposed or compared to fiat currency, which is inflated and is designed to be inflated, Bitcoin is
essentially deflationary. So that's why we want to talk about the Bitcoin cycles, because
it's a big thing. It's a big thing.
Yeah. So, so we don't need to look at the chart anymore for a second. We can, we're going to go over, we'll keep the screen share on, and we're going to go over to this site here. So this is Bitcoin Magazine, and this was just an article that kind of gave a brief look into Bitcoin production and halving cycles and kind of how they work. So essentially, if we look at this chart here, so you can see the Bitcoin monetary inflation, and this is the production of Bitcoin going down as
the price goes up.
As the price goes up. So the way Bitcoin mining works is that the miners get a reward released to them for mining the Bitcoin. This is what created the incentive in the beginning for people to get involved with the Bitcoin network, right? So you would get a reward of 50 Bitcoin for the Bitcoin.
Essentially the work that you've done.
It's literally like mining gold. These things are, it's just programs, or not programs.
Well, you got to do math.
It's hash rates, right?
Yeah.
So
it takes math. It takes energy. You got to
that people can't do, but computers can.
Yeah. So you got to write these algorithms, and it's a lot of work.
Yeah. And they get a reward in Bitcoin for mining these blocks. And in the beginning, when the first blocks were released to the miners, it was a reward of 50 Bitcoin. The second time, it would have been 25 Bitcoin. The third cycle, it would have been 12.5 Bitcoin.
And if you look at the dollar value of that, it's, even though it's been halving, it's still been more profitable every single time,
right?
Because of the price going up,
right? But essentially, the rewards every cycle are decreased by 50%, which creates the supply shock in the market, which creates the markup in the price. And this is going to continue, and we'll never have more than 21 million Bitcoin. That's the max. There can never be any more printed, and nobody knows how. And that's just the way it was designed.
And then that's it.
Right? So this is why it is going to continue to go up in value, and I don't believe that it has a top because it's fractionalized. So as it's going up, people are just going to be able to buy less and less of the Bitcoin that's available, right? So, but that doesn't mean that it's too expensive for you to buy and get in because it's at $55,000.
But just comparing that to your fiat currency that we all know, it has an unlimited top, and it's designed to be inflated, and it's going to literally devalue it over time, which we are all seeing. Everything is becoming more expensive.
Yeah, the more money they print, the more they debase the currency.
Exactly. So you holding money in your bank account is literally losing you money. Yeah, losing you value. Remember, this is value. We're all everything that we want to hold on to is value. Money is nothing. Money is fake. It's literally just a made-up system to represent value.
It's funny money.
Now we have something that's actually digitally based. So as long as we have the internet and nobody else can mess around with it, it represents value. And you think we're going to have the internet for quite a while? Probably. I mean, everything runs on the internet nowadays. So if the internet goes down, you got more to worry about than your Bitcoin.
Yeah, right? 100%.
So at this point, 100%, right? I'm not even going to 99.9 this. I'm going to 100%.
Yeah, 60% of the time, it works every time.
So
so that it's a win-win. It's a win-win because as long as
if you're planning on living for the next 20, 30 years, 40 years or whatever, and then you want to be able to store your value for tomorrow.
Yeah, and as long as they continue to print money, the price of Bitcoin is going to continue to go up. The price of every asset is going to continue to go up because it's the only way that you're going to be able to consume any value of your own in the future, right? So the idea and the point of owning assets is for you to consume your value in the future, right? So that's the reason you buy a house, because you want to be mortgage free and you eventually want to be able to sell that asset to do whatever you want when you retire.
The way that fiat works, you have to spend it to get rich. If you hold it, you don't get rich. You need to spend it. You need to put it in other things that hold their value,
like Bitcoin or any.
And that's exactly it's by design. Trust me, the people that design this whole system, it works out perfectly for them because they own the countries, they own the cities, and they make the dollar worth less and less every day, which makes their cities and their countries worth more money. Right? They know what's going on. It's not like, oh my God, we tried really hard, but we just didn't get it. Like, no, they got it. They did exactly what they intended to do, and it's the rest of us that are paying for it, right? So the time for change is now. Everybody knows it. There's so many things pointing to it. It's with the racial things, the everything that's going on right now. Like the revolution is it's on the horizon, if not already happening right now. So. Get in early.
So get in early. It really is a digital revolution. Everybody can see that the world is moving towards digital interaction. Yeah. It started 10 years ago, so it's not like this shouldn't be new information to anybody. It started with social media. It started with different programmable things that were on the internet and Web 2 developments and all these things that are moving us towards a more digial world.
It's going to change whether you want it to or not.
Even a lot of assets and people's investments have become intangible things, right? Yeah. So we're moving that way, whether people believe it or not. It really is going that way.
Which doesn't mean it's not real.
I don't know.
Because everything's built on blockchain technology, like we told you, right?
It is, yeah.
So it's there. If the internet does go down for whatever reason, if there's a massive EMP from the sun and everybody loses, once we get it back, it'll all be there still.
But like you said, if we get that EMP from the sun, food is going to be your only concern.
You're not going to be worrying about Bitcoin.
You don't need
exactly.
Yeah, money's not going to be an issue. Yeah, value is not going to be an issue.
Water is going to be number one.
Yeah, we got lots of clean water here, so I think we'll be okay.
We're okay. But
in BC, we're going to be all right.
I got a few barrels in the back. I got a few barrels of water. It comes from the sky. I mean, it's not like I'm hoarding or anything.
Okay, so what else are we looking at?
Well, just to continue on this, like a lot of people right now are having a hard time with this because it's a change. It's a big change, and those who fail to change will fail when change happens. Because regardless whether you think or you like it or you think it's for you or not, this is what's going to happen.
When the fear of remaining the same becomes greater than the fear of change, then we will change.
Exactly.
And right now we're reaching this high point of chaos in the world. And in my opinion, man, I talk just fine when the camera's not on. It's all different after that. Anyway, in my opinion, these times of chaos are what really bring change. And
Well, it's because people have to start paying attention. Like everything's running
Yes.
smoothly, nobody cares. But then,
Yes.
okay, we're not running smoothly anymore. Maybe we should all kind of like see what's going on here.
Yeah. Well, it starts with the few people that go and look at these new technologies and look to the future and look to newer possibilities and things like that, right? While the world is distracted with whatever chaos
Ignorance.
may be happening. Ignorance. Ignorance. We'll sum that up.
How
As
about
just
deliberate ignorance? Like people, there's a bunch of things out there to distract you, and it's not like it's your fault. You're sucked right in.
Let's just clarify that ignorance means the absence of knowledge, or
choosing to ignore
somebody that's malinformed. But if you're choosing ignorance, if you're choosing not to pay attention, then yes, that's a little different. But we want to kind of share the
brighter side.
What's that?
You want the brighter side?
We want to
The cup is half full over here at your future hand.
It's piss, isn't it? This cup's full of piss, isn't it?
Sorry, officer.
Anyway, we want to keep on more the positive note. So, it's really easy to get distracted by the chaos. It's really easy to fall in line with what everybody else is doing, right? And it starts with a few people looking to broader horizons and looking into new information and new technologies or things that are going to benefit us, or things that are actually going on in the world that they may or may not be getting involved in, while the rest of the world is distracted by whatever that chaos may be. So in the last 2 years, we see that every single market is more profitable than they have been in 20 years. Okay, we've added 500 new billionaires to the roster.
But the poor person is paying attention to something else.
Right? And
while the rich get richer.
While the rich get richer, and we don't need to talk about whatever the distractions may be. There's lots of different distractions.
There's a new one every single day.
Everybody, there's a new one every day. But the reality is that behind the scenes, that people are making more money than they ever have.
Exactly.
And the best investment opportunity of our generation is right now. It's right here, and it's in cryptocurrency. And every single smart investor is seeing this same thing, and this is why we're now seeing this huge run up in 2021 for all of crypto in general. Okay, so
which, speaking of cycles, we may have seen the cycle that breaks the cycles.
We might have seen the cycle that breaks the cycle.
We might be in the cycle
right now. Right now, we're actually kind of flirting with this resistance line, or a curved resistance line based on the 11-year cycles that we've made contact with. Multiple times, or in every cycle, we've made contact with this line. And right now, for the first time ever, we're making not only multiple contacts with that line, but we're now staying very tight to that curved resistance line. So with the mass adoption that's coming, with governors and all kinds of political entities all over talking about this, and countries adopting it as legal tender, the mass adoption part is here. The media hype attention of crypto is here. Crypto.com just bought the Staples Center naming rights.
That's nuts.
Crow
is a good investment.
It's everywhere. So, I mean, it's just like I said, these well, not just like I said, I'm not sure if I said it or not. But these markets and the cycles generally would have seen a crash around December, January when it peaked out. But if this is really the cycle that breaks the cycles, then we're going to see another face-ripping rally in the new year, right? So I do believe that we will see the investor crash at the end of this year. But all these investors are going to have a bunch of new money that they made, a bunch of new profit that they made from this year's investments, and they're going to put it back into crypto because it's the biggest gainer.
And not only that, they've been watching it for years now, and they've seen the cycles, and they've recognized what's been happening the last 2 or 3 times, and expecting it to potentially happen again. And if it does, they're going to capitalize on it.
Right. And so if you're new, if you're getting in, you need to expect that too. So this is why we say start with a light amount. Just start though, right? Because the longer you get in, the longer you're going to wait to get in the profits. But Bitcoin has returned an average of 130% a year for the last 10 years straight, with an exception of this year, which is like
200%, I think, as of today. So yeah, a year ago today.
But
we're
we
up
like
200%.
that chart you can see right now. I mean, it's looking good. It's still looking bullish, even though we've been correcting over the last couple of weeks. Things are still looking bullish. We're still getting strong support bounces and not just falling off a cliff, which is a good sign. So nothing to be worried about, but if you are getting in now while these prices are high, we could see an end of year crash as the investors start to pull out. So start small, but think long term, right?
Yeah, 100% think long term. This is a savings account. We're talking
Bitcoin
5-10
is
years
Bitcoin
here,
is your savings
right?
account. It is the best savings
Nothing is
account.
going to make you rich overnight. Nothing.
And the thing with getting involved is that if you don't know anything about crypto right now, and you're just getting involved and you make that investment, once you put money into it, you're going to pay attention.
Yes.
And once you're paying attention, you're going to start learning more every day.
I'm not a huge curling fan, but when I got $10 on the line, come on.
But if so if your money's in there and you're getting invested, then you're going to pay attention because you have money in there. But don't just pay attention, do not pay attention to your dollar value really going up or down, unless you're going to be buying more when it goes down, because
that's the best time.
When the fear is high in the market, that's generally the best time to buy. I actually want to share my screen here, and this is what I was talking about. This is the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, and this is also a really good indicator, actually probably one of the best indicators for buying opportunities or for trade entry opportunities. And when we are down here in 27, pretty much anything between 20 and 30 has in history been a very good buying indicator or a very good trade entry point. Okay. And when the greed is high, when we're in extreme greed, that is a good exit point for your trades, or if you're looking to take profits.
That's when they're going to pull the rug.
So anybody can look at this. You can pull up the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, and you can kind of pay attention here. And this is, if you're getting in and you're a person just looking for that long-term savings, if this thing is in the red or anything below 30, really, that's a great buying indicator. And this is why I also think that we've got big, strong moves ahead of us. Pardon me. Because we were just a few weeks ago or a couple of weeks ago, we were at 80, 84, extreme greed.
Strictly based on past performance. It's happened once, it's happened twice, it continues to happen. So this is what we look at.
And so when we have extreme greed, when the greed index is super high, that means people think this thing's going to the moon. It's never going to come down. So there's a lot of high leverage. Yeah, a lot of high leverage. A lot of high leverage on exchanges and things like that, and it gets it up into the high region. And
that's when you get liquidated.
Even after it was coming down, though, when we hit the all-time high at 69,000 and we were still in the greed, people weren't shaking that leverage out. So it stayed up here for quite a long time. And I think that's another reason that we've seen more downward price action, is to shake some of that leverage out and
it's been
get
hard.
us back
it's
to
definitely
that,
probably been one of the harder times for them to shake out the leverage.
Yeah,
so it's getting stronger every single time.
Yeah. There's extreme fear in the market right now, or not extreme maybe, but there's fear in the market right now sitting at 27. And I think that's a good sign, because
probably just a bunch of Karens.
If we do get that wick down in the next couple of days and it bounces down to say 20 or 23 or something like that, then I believe that the moonshot and hopefully up into that 70, 80K range is going to be a lot stronger. So let's hope that happens. But
and that's how the cycles work, basically. It's when you think that it's going to go up, it's probably going to go down, and when you think it's going to go down, well, it's probably about to turn around and go up. So
that's right.
You need to be ahead of the game,
and that's where the psychology comes into this thing too. So.
People see green and they go, yes.
And we need to understand that this is controlled by narrative and human psychology, right? And
which is part of the narrative.
In the Bitcoin thing, we almost subconsciously create this psychology by all being involved and all looking at the same indicators and all looking at the same things. We kind of create this psychology in this market ourselves. But now that we have the big institutional investors, they've got a little bit more control. We're starting to see more patterns from regular stock markets and things like that come into play between distribution and accumulation. So we need to understand that narrative and how they control it based on the greed and the fear of human psychology, right? Because we're all the same. We want to chase things that are doing really well. Right. So if we chase all those green candles because it looks like things are going up and it's going to be all fantastic, and then you buy in when it's green, and then boom, the next day it drops 30%, right?
Yeah, because everyone else has already taken their profits because they already bought in way down low.
Right. So when you think it's going to just keep going down and it's looking bad and everything else, then that's probably the good buying opportunity. They want you afraid to buy it, right?
Because bad is good and good is bad. Who knew?
If you're selling it to them when you're afraid, if you're like, oh my God, it's going down, I got to sell this stuff. That's what they want, because they want to buy your Bitcoin for cheaper. That's in order to have in a democratic market like Bitcoin. There needs to be a seller and there needs to be a buyer for these transactions to happen.
For somebody to make money, somebody else has to lose money.
They want you to sell your Bitcoin cheap. So they're
going to scare you out of it so that you panic, sell, and they're going to be like, well, you got that meme of the whale? We'll put that in post.
So that's just it. So when the market is in extreme fear like this and you're afraid to buy, that's probably a good buying opportunity. You don't want to be buying when this fear and greed index is way up in the green. That's never an entry point.
That's called buying the top.
Yeah, never buy when it's in the green. Never buy the tops. Never chase green candles.
When you see those green candles, just take it in and go, wow, that was a good buy. That I made a couple weeks ago. That was good.
Just
take it.
Exactly.
Just take it as a win, and then wait for the next dip.
Exactly. Wait for the next dip, because that's just it. There's always going to be dips, my buddies ask me like, hey man, how's Bitcoin doing? I'll go, it has its ups and its downs. Yeah. The later you buy, the longer you wait.
It's better to own Bitcoin and not need it than it is to need Bitcoin and not own it.
There we go.
Yeah. Shout out to Crypto World, Josh at Crypto World for that tweet today.
We can chop that screen, I think, if I had that on there. Okay, so
let's get into these questions.
Yes, questions. So crypto in Canada is a little...
Canada's always late to the party. That's just the way it is.
No, I think we were early compared to the U.S., to be honest.
Really?
Well, we had an ETF, so we actually had access to a Bitcoin traded fund on the TSX, so the Toronto Stock Exchange, before the New York Stock Exchange launched their ETF. So I think we were actually a little before them on it, but they do, as a country, own more than us, obviously. They own more Bitcoin. So U.S. government, I think, is number 3 for holding, number 3 or number 4 for Bitcoin holding, actually. Yeah. So the Canadian Securities Regulations Act, and also under the Canadian anti-money laundering regulations for cryptocurrency businesses, is where you would want to look. So I just have an article put up by Saya Partners here, and where I pulled a little information from. And essentially, it's going to be treated like a security or like any commodity. So if you're buying or selling, it's not taxed. So if you're buying or holding Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies in Canada, it's not considered taxable. So you're allowed, because it's not legal tender, you're allowed to buy and hold cryptocurrency, and it's not an issue. So this is why the idea of a future where we're using Bitcoin and Ethereum or Litecoin or Dogecoin or whatever it may be in businesses.
You said Dogecoin?
It's one of the biggest ones. It's going to be at 100%. People are using Dogecoin. It's accepted by businesses around the world already, right? So. But
human nature is what it is, I guess.
Dogecoin's been around longer than Ethereum, I think. I'm pretty sure it's been around longer than Ethereum.
I don't know. We'll have to fact check that.
Check it, bro. Anyway, so whatever. We'll get into that in a minute. But
it's a dog.
But anyways, when we get to that point, and if you're just buying and holding, Bitcoin and Ethereum or whatever,
it's the capital gains tax that's going to have anything to do with it.
So if you sell your cryptocurrency, and yes, you can convert me and
you're ready, you know what I'm saying? You're ready.
If you convert your Bitcoin or your Ethereum or any other cryptocurrency into a stable coin or into dollars. So if you're selling your cryptocurrency, it's considered, it's a taxable event, right? So you have to pay capital gains tax on your profits, essentially. If you're pulling profits from cryptocurrency, you would have to claim that as income and pay a capital gains tax on it.
Yeah, in my personal opinion, I'm not going to be the person that's going to be selling my Bitcoin or any of my crypto anytime soon, because there's no need for it. Like, think of an RRSP. You can put money into it and you don't get taxed. You actually make money in the long term because you're not planning on touching that for a long time. Then you get taxed on your income, how much you're taking out of the time. But hopefully you don't need as much money. So you're taking out little bits and only getting taxed a little bits on that. So with crypto, if you continue to put money into this over the next 10 years, and then it's just going to do the same thing. It'll hold that value and very more than likely go up heavily in value. But you going, and then when you're, retired or whatever, then you just take out your coffee in the morning with your, little bit, you take out your lunch in the middle of the day when you're meeting the girls for, wine sipping and whatever, right? Like that, this is how we need to look at this sort of thing, right? Don't look like you're going to you don't worry about converting it to USD or Canadian dollars right now. That's not where we're at. We're at consuming. We are in, like you just said, the accumulation phase.
100%.
So don't worry about selling it right now. Don't worry about making money on this right now. You are trying to store value. That's what the goal is. You want to make sure that you have, excuse me, something to dip into later on in life. And this is just going to be that security that you should be able to retire off of in the future, right? 5-10 years down the line is what we're looking at here. Because we all work a day job and you can buy your coffees today. It's no big deal. But we're talking about, contributing monthly to this sort of thing. And then we're going to be looking at taking out 10 years from now. And obviously the way things go, the laws are going to be different 10 years from now. So we honestly can't really answer that question. In my opinion, this is what it is now. You're going to pay capital gains tax on it. But in my opinion, don't pay the tax on it. Just hold it. It might go down in value as we hit the next bear market, because remember, it's just up and down and up and down. But every up has been higher than the last up. We have constantly been, if you zoom out, we have constantly been in a bull market from day one till now, even with these mini cub markets in between.
They're cub markets. They're just corrections. Okay.
Exactly.
So when supply shocks happen, the markup phase goes.
This is for any resource,
right?
We've
goes
all
a little
seen
high, and the market's
toilet paper.
Yeah, toilet paper, gas right now, meat right now, anything. So we go through these markup phases. The price goes up. All the indicators get overheated. All the markets get overheated.
Everything gets overbought,
and then we go through these corrections. The same on the stock exchange and everything else.
Exactly.
Too,
so once things are overbought, that's when the value becomes lower, because too many people are interested in buying it, and then the price drops.
And so you will experience drops, and in the past, the Bitcoin cycles have been known to
oversold,
drop about 80-90% when the cycle was over. Now 80%, 90% sounds a little extreme, right? It sounds like a lot of money, but for Bitcoin. And I don't even think it's going to drop 85% this year, because the amount of traded funds that are accessible to investors now is just,
we've seen the support.
But in previous cycles, we've dropped about 85 or 80% on Bitcoin, right? But what people have to remember is the amount that it has gone up. So right now, 340% it's gone up. So if it drops 80%, it's still up. 260% for the year,
exactly,
right? So, or whatever, it's sitting at about 200. But from whatever the top is, it's only going to drop that number, right?
So that's why we watch these average lines, right?
So, like I said, if you're just getting in right now, do start light. But I think these cycles are going to break, and I think that the money is going to come back in a lot sooner than it did in previous cycles. I think you'll see a crash, which is going to probably mark the absolute best investment opportunity of our time, of our generation, and it's going to be in cryptocurrency. There is nothing else that you can put your money into that is going to provide the type of gains that you can get in the crypto space over the next 10 years. As we go through this paradigm shift, essentially, of moving to a digital world. This is a digital revolution. Crypto was created by people for people who wanted to take some control of their
debit
finances.
And credit. It's all stepping stones. Now here's the thing that we were going to make it to. And so, and another thing she says here is concerned about linking my bank account. Is it safe? So whenever you do these know your customer qualifications, or whatever you want to call them, excuse me, you want to be linked to your money, right?
Yep.
You go to the bank, they're going to ask you for your driver's license. You don't want to be putting money into something that this person is not asking who you are.
Yes.
Right?
So Coinbase.
Yeah. So
Coinbase is absolutely safe.
Yes, it's definitely safe, and you want to make sure, don't get scared about the verification aspect of this, because you want...
That's what keeps you secure.
Exactly. That's what makes sure your money is linked to you on the blockchain network, and that now that it's linked to you, it's forever linked to you. Just for a little example, in 2017, I verified, opened my Coinbase account, put money into it. I didn't look at it for probably 2 or 3 years, like a phone, went through a phone, didn't get the app, blah, blah, blah. And then I finally was like, oh, crypto's fucking hot again. Sweet. Well, let's check out. Open my Coinbase app, put in my email, boom. Everything that I still had there 4 years ago was still there. It's all just, like you want to be linked to these accounts, because if you're not linked to these accounts, that's how you're going to lose your money.
And so there's obviously more risk when you go to decentralized exchanges, but this is why we're telling people just to start with Coinbase. Coinbase is very secure. They're very compliant to U.S. regulations and regulations around the world, and they always have been. So that is a very secure environment for you to start in. Absolutely.
Don't get scared.
Don't get scared. Coinbase, absolutely secure, absolutely safe, and I think you're even insured to a certain extent.
If anything, get scared of missing out. No, don't get scared. Don't get scared.
Yeah, don't get scared. Yeah, just don't get scared.
Don't get scared. Don't let emotions make your judgments, especially when you're talking about money and investments. Just look at the future. Everybody knows where we're going, where we've been, and where we're going to be. Right. And basically, the way I see it is, if it all crashes, then for me, nothing changes. I still go to work. But if everything goes the way I think it's going to go, I will be a wealthy person in the future.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So there it is. It's a win-win. Yeah. Because if I don't, because remember, I am investing what I can afford to lose.
You just said it's a win-win. So, and that's the other thing too with crypto. If our actual if the traditional monetary system does go into a deflationary period, actually, then people need to be aware of this too. Of if things go the other way, can the government shut this down? Right? Can the government shut this down? Is there the potential for them to try and crash these markets? How much control do they really have?
I think that if they tried to crash the market, that would result in them actually losing control.
So that would absolutely happen, because Bitcoin has reached that point of no return. It's already beyond that. So it's basically become the internet of monetary
value, finance
value. Yeah. Right. So it's reached the point where they can't, which is why you're starting to see it trade on stock exchanges, right? And they want in now. They've got in now. We've seen
they already tried to crush it. It didn't work,
and it didn't work, right?
They tried for a long time, and it ain't gonna happen.
But they are going to have
just the
more control with electronic ETF,
and that's why they introduced the capital gains tax, which means it's not going to go anywhere, but we just want our cut, which is huge.
100%, they want their cut, so which is fine and dandy.
We cannot fight you anymore. We are now joining you.
Yeah.
You can't beat them, join them. So this has already happened. Right. They are joining, and they just want their cut.
But what they want to do also is slow it down. This thing can't. They
want to fill their bags before everybody else finds out.
Fast, right? Now, from the launch of ETFs and accessibility to big investor money on these exchanges, we're not going to see a giant crash anymore, but we will see more control from these entities in price action. They're going to be able to hold their Bitcoin. They're going to be settling their debts to investors with cash, so they're going to have more control in price. But whether it's a decrease or an increase in volatility, it doesn't matter. The growth is still going to be on an annual basis. It's only going to go up. So
this is why we diversify.
That's just it.
But just like I said, if it all crashes, for me, nothing changes, because I am investing what I can afford to lose. So it doesn't matter. And if it goes the way I think it's going to go, we'll be wealthy. We'll be well off. And that's all we want for everybody is financial equality.
Right.
This is it, right? Like we said in the past videos, transparency is there. You can see every transaction that anybody's ever making. You can see where people are moving their money around. It's all there. And the more people that get in, the more stable it gets. And just like anything, like everything that we've always done in the human race, the people that get in early always benefit. And
it's the best chance you have at generational wealth. 100%.
And the other people that get in late just say, "Oh shit, I wish I got in. I wish I
bought Apple. I wish I bought Google. Right? I wish I bought Microsoft."
It's happened countless times. Yeah. So I'm not fighting it anymore.
No, don't fight it anymore. Just get in.
Don't fight it.
And you'll.
All right, Biggs and Boggs out.
Biggs and Boggs.
This is a big episode. Thanks you guys very much for joining us for this one. Like and subscribe. Let us know what you think.
If you have been following the channel, thank you very much for your support. We do appreciate it. If there's anything you want us to talk about in future episodes, please comment below. Let us know what you're looking at. Let us know what you want us to talk about. If you have any more questions, please let us know. But the best way you can support us is please subscribe, please like, and help us get this message out there. It's the only way to beat the YouTube algorithm. Please hit the like button for us. Drop a comment below and help us grow.
Yeah. Whoa, poet and didn't even know it.
All right, Biggs and Boggs out.
Peace.
Biggs and Boggs.